We were living in Johannesburg at the time, and we took our annual holiday in Durban. It was a very long drive, then about 9 or 10 hours. I understand now it only takes 4, but those days it was very long. Hot, boring. My father drove all the way because my mother couldn't drive at the time. He didn't seem to mind, he loved driving, and would try and keep our attention and our interest up by telling the most appalling jokes, which we would have to laugh at. Durban was unlike any other seaside resort that I'd been to, in that it wasn't like Brighton, where I come from. It looked like how I imagined America to be. The skyscrapers, the roadhouses, drive-in movies, which we still don't have in England. We didn't even have takeaway food at that time, so there were no fast food restaurants, and these roadhouses were extraordinary. You know, you drove in and then pressed a button on this parking meter, and somebody would come out and ask for your order. It was like something out of Greece. It was fantastic.
Once again, just a reminder to all members of the public, especially the bathers in the sea, we do have strong back and sideways conditions today.
Well, here I am on Durban's North Beach, which is where my brother and I used to come and play every single day of our holiday here. I haven't been back since, well, for 27 years, since I was 12 years old. But even though a lot of it's changed, there are high-rise buildings that I don't recognize, this beach I will never forget. And this is where my father received second-degree burns on his feet because it was so hot, and that was at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. On the seafront in Durban were these rickshaw men, Zulus, dressed in full Zulu warrior gear. They would either whistle or they would chant very loudly, and then they would jump up in the air so that the rickshaw tipped back. And I remember screaming in fright. I went on it so many times because I loved it, and squeezed on it with my mother and brother at one point, which was a very tight fit. This time I'm staying in the Beverly Hills Sun Hotel, which is a few miles up the coast from Durban, with the most spectacular views. My room overlooks the sea with the palms. There's a rocky beach, which is fantastic for children. A lot of sharks, though. The pool is so beautiful, and at night lit up, and with the palms swaying, and we've had a few storms whilst we've been here too. It's quite breathtaking, very dramatic. Now this is Zulu village, which is a Zulu village about 30 minutes drive from Durban. And it's not the village that I came to as a child, but it is situated in the Valley of 1,000 Hills. This village is more reminiscent of an ancient Zulu village, and I would think it was supremely educational for children to visit here, and the scenery is magnificent. But most importantly, they have the most fantastic singing and dancing.
Any Zulu man can marry any number of wives, no limit. If he can afford to pay 11 cows, because he has to pay 11 cows for each wife. So that if the man has got more than enough cows, he can marry even 20, 30 wives. Zulu men are very strong, and he can keep them happy all the time easy.
We visited a game reserve which had every wild animal that you can imagine from Africa there. There were all the big cats as well as rhino and giraffe, and you're so close to them as well. You are able to get up very close. The scenery in Africa is so wild and vast.
Just above us, just beyond these trees on the right-hand side, see them there. There's quite a big herd of blesbok. and there's a solitary blue wildebeest on his own there. The reason why he's on his own, he's an old bull. He's been kicked out of a herd.
So Mark, how many different types of animal do you have on the reserve?
Amanda, we've probably got about 12 different species of antelope that we've got on the farm. But in total, if we all the different species of game that we've got on the farm, we're probably looking at about 28, 29 different species of game that we've got on the farm at the moment. Okay, here we have on the right-hand side is an adult white rhino female. She's got a daughter and son to the left of her over there. She's just giving birth to a young little guy who's now about 2 weeks old. Well, I say he's a guy, he could be a young cow, I'm not too sure, haven't sexed him yet.
They're so pretty.
He just doesn't let us get too close at the moment. You can see she's protecting the little guy from the other two, from their daughter and son. You know, she won't tolerate the others coming too close to her. She's just so, the motherly instinct is so great at the moment.
Well, you didn't expect me to walk up there, did you? When we visited the Drakensberg Mountains, because they're so huge, and they really are, for a child, it's awe-inspiring. What I remember is that we passed Zulu villages where the Zulu ladies would be walking around bare-breasted, and my brother could not take his eyes off them. And I remember hitting him over the head, telling him to stop. I've found this very fitting to be up here because I'm standing on a pinnacle, and I think this is a pinnacle of my visit to South Africa. I love coming back here. It's a fabulous country. It's brought back many memories for me. Some are painful, but most are very happy. And all I know is that I won't be leaving it so long before I return.
A week's holiday staying at the Beverly Hills Sun Hotel in Durban costs £1,194, including scheduled flights, car hire and breakfast. The 20-minute helicopter flight over the Drakensberg Mountains costs £27 each if there are 6 of you, and there's an added bonus of champagne and orange juice on Cathedral Peak Mountain. Details of the holidays on tonight's programme are on CFAX page 618. Next week, the hottest blonde on the planet, Caprice, mingles with the beautiful people on the shores of the south of France.
Life is rough.